What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. We had a bunch of stuff that's happened the last bunch of days since I did the show. Let's get right into it. The Winnipeg Jets extended Gabe Vilardi 6 years, $45 million. He had filed for arbitration, or he was going to, and they avoided arbitration by giving him a long-term extension, 6 years, $45 million. Vilardi, one of the better young players in the sport, going to be 26 years old next year. Had a career last year with 27 goals and 61 points. He had 23 goals and 41 points and 22 goals and 36 points the previous 2 years. Missed a lot of time of injuries. Stayed mostly healthy last year, 71 games, missed 11 games, but a lot better than the 63 and the 47 he played 2 years prior. Very high draft pick, 11th overall by the Kings, back by the Kings, and then eventually traded to the Winnipeg Jets. In 2017, he was drafted when he was really young. Took him a few years to get to the league. Gets to the league at, when he was 20 years old. And about a career last year in Winnipeg, and Winnipeg locks him up. 6 years, $45 million, 27 goals, 61 points last year for Gabe Vilardi. And in the NBA, Marcus Smart was bought out by the Washington Wizards, and he was picked up by the Los Angeles Lakers. Sunday, 2-year deal for $11 million. This is a decent signing for the Lakers. That starting five is really, really handicapped defensively. The best defender is maybe Olsen Reed, and he's just a passable defender, maybe a little bit better. On the perimeter, Rui Hachimura is just okay. Also, Luka doesn't play a lick-up defense. Ayton down low doesn't play a lick-up defense, and LeBron isn't the defender he once was. So it makes sense. He's missed a lot of time these last couple years. He's always been pretty injury prone. But he has only played 54 games over the last 2 years. So he hasn't even got that close to a full season of games over the last 2 years. He is a great defender, a 3-time first-team all-defense guy. Was Defensive Player of the Year in 2022 at Boston. Probably shouldn't have won Defensive Player of the Year that year, but he is a great defender. He has not been an all-defense guy the last 3 years. He's had a lot of injuries. He's going to be 31 next year. It will be year 12 for him. But he's a solid vet. He's a good defender. Doesn't score much anymore. Only averaged 9 points a game last year. Shot just 39% from the field, 34% from three. So occasional three-pointer. But other than that, it doesn't give you a whole lot offensively, and is a great defensive player. But again, health is many concerns. So if he's healthy, I could see maybe him playing the 2 guard. Maybe run at point, and you play Luka at the 2. So probably send Reeves or Hachimura to the bench full time. So it lengthens your rotation a bit. So it's a decent move. It's not that much money. Well, what did you get? $5.5 million a year. So he basically got the same deal that Bradley Beal got after he was bought out by Phoenix and then went and signed with the Clippers across town in Los Angeles. So it does not move the needle. Still don't see the Lakers being a legit contender. LeBron's old. He's just a joke right now. Look, a great player, but doesn't play any defense. That's very it's tough to deal with in the postseason. And I don't think Ayton's the right big man for that team. And they have a couple of nice role pieces. Reed, Hachimura, highlight that. Other than that, I just don't think they have enough to truly contend. It's going to be a really tough and deep Western Conference next year. But Smart goes to the Lakers, 2 years, $11 million. Heading over to football, let's talk about the NFC East all-season grades, going division by division, continuing to do that. It's the NFC East turn. I'm going to start with the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champs. I'm going to give them a B. So I was going to give them a little higher. They do extend Saquon Barkley for another couple of years. So he'll be with the Eagles at least through his prime as a running back. You extend Lane Johnson, maybe the league's best right tackle. He is 35, is still no pro, probably a future Hall of Famer. So either way, I think he's going to finish his career as an Eagle. They also re-signed Zach Blount for 3 years. Blount had a great year last year, breakout season for him. Became a really good linebacker, does it all, can rush the passer, defends the run, very good in coverage. That was a huge piece to get back. You do lose a bunch of guys. You lose Joshua and Milton Williams on the defensive line. And those are 2 huge pieces. Were very important in the playoffs. You let go of Darius Slay, though. He is getting older. You lose Mekhi Becton, who had a resurgent year last year after moving to guard last year in Philadelphia. Brandon Graham retired, a Philadelphia legend. You trade C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who's a good defensive back, versatile guy. However, a couple of swings that you made that I thought were pretty useful. You get back Kenyon Green for Gardner Johnson. From a first-round pick guard, Houston's had the last 2 years. He overall has not been great. However, the Eagles have the best offensive line in the league, arguably. They have an O-line coach in the league. So if anyone can fix him, it's them. And they fixed Mekhi Becton last year. I didn't think that was possible. You bring in Josh Uche for some depth, same thing with Adoree Jackson, just an okay corner, first round miss. He's originally drafted by the Titans. Giants ended up with him. Now he's in Philadelphia. You bring in A.J. Dillon, some nice insurance for Saquon Barkley, who not last year, but in the past, the Giants had injury issues. Dillon is another power back like Barkley. These Ojolari is a lot of them are Giant, who you bring in. And they're deep enough up front to where they're able to kind of withstand the losses to Sweat and Milton Williams. Now you have two really good young corners you drafted last year in Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, to where Slay was expendable. So they overall did a good job. I was going to give them an A, but I bumped them all the way down to a B because they did lose a lot of pieces on that defense. That number two, because Mitchell's more of a slot guy, that number two corner spot is kind of open. So, and you're looking at it, it's between who? Adoree Jackson, and it's probably the favorite. That is, I guess, the biggest weakness on their team, and that is a legit weakness. I mean, going back to back in any sport obviously is going to be hard. But so you do lose a bunch of depth. However, they had a pretty good draft. I like the Jihad Campbell pick. I think that was a steal, getting him at the end of the first round. He's a good player. Was very productive at Alabama. I think could be a really good dude, a linebacker. You take a Makuba to safety, and after that you take a shot on O-lineman and Cameron Williams. You even took a shot on Kyle McCord at quarterback from our first guy who actually led the country in passing yards at Syracuse after transfer from Ohio State to Syracuse. So we'll see if he can at least maybe become a decent backup. But Barkley got 2 years for $41.2 million, so he's the highest paid back in the league, I think. Johnson got another year for 25, and then Blouin got re-signed for 3 for 51 with 34 guaranteed. So overall, they did a pretty good job. They did lose a bunch of guys though. Commandos got a B-. I mentioned this when I did my most interesting team segment last week. I thought they could have done more. A ton of cap space, a quarterback on a rookie deal. You bring back some important pieces. Andrew Wiley on the offensive line. Bobby Wagner gets another 1 year. He's still a good veteran linebacker. Mariota is Jaden Daniels' backup. Tress Way, who is a great punter. Zach Ertz still a solid tight end even at his age. I love the move to go and get Laramie Tunsil, an all-pro left tackle. It's a huge piece to pick up. I like the Devo move. You don't give up a whole lot for him. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, even if he's washed. Don't give a 4th-round pick for him. And so it's a 1-year trial run. Be a number 2 receiver. I think that makes sense. You bring in Will Harris and Jonathan Jones from the secondary. Jones is a very good slot corner. Will Harris is a nice guy to have in the secondary. Even Dietrich Wise as a rotational pass rusher. But to let go of Jonathan Allen and then pay Javon Kinlaw for the same contract that Allen gets from the Vikings didn't make any sense. Why you need to downgrade on the defensive line? They have enough firepower on the D-line. Kinlaw's on the bum. Guy was kind of a bust in San Francisco. Has been a little better with the Jets. But Allen's simply the better player. But you lose Jeremy Chin in the secondary. Don't think that Virginia was a good rotational pass rusher last year. So you do lose a few guys. You take Josh Connery Jr. late in the first round. We'll see what he becomes. Trey Amos is a kid that I like. You take in the middle rounds. A versatile defensive back. Rest of the is kind of eh. So look, Washington's still got a really good team. There's, to me, the clear at least second best team in that division still. But again, now I talked about this last week. Young team, historically bad organization, drafts a rookie quarterback, has a new coaching staff that people were skeptical on, new regime. They even have new ownership. Not a lot of expectations. You could go crazy last year and overachieve. Now you bring in some more veterans. There's more expectations. You might take that step forward and become a true Super Bowl contender, or do you might take a step back and maybe more of like a one and done team in the playoffs, which will be obviously a step back from going into the NFC Championship last year. So be interesting. But I thought they could have maybe brought in one more legit O-line piece. and maybe continue to improve that defense, especially since you have a defensive-minded head coach in Dan Quinn. So they get a B minus. Dallas Cowboys also going to be minus. Now, it's not as bad as it was last year, where it was like, okay, they let a bunch of guys go. It was embarrassing. You do re-sign Osa Odugohuza, very good defensive tackle, especially against the run. Didn't think they would bring him back. You do bring him back. You did add Dante Fowler Jr. as a rotational pass rusher. You had Robert Jones to the secondary. Solomon Thomas up front. Kenneth Murray's a decent linebacker. However, you do lose a bunch of pieces as well. You lose a very good starting corner in Jordan Lewis, who had been there for a while. You lose Rico Dowdle, who down the stretch is one of the better running backs in the league. You lose DeMarcus Lawrence, who had been one of your best pass rushers for years. Zach Martin, an all-pro guard, retires. So you had a pretty good draft. I think Tyler Booker, a bit of a reach, but I think he'll be a good guard. Replacing Zach Martin. They have some good offensive line coaching for sure. I like him taking Ezaraku in the middle rounds. I think he could be a pretty good player. Siobhan Ravel, the corner out of East Carolina, I think could be pretty good. Even Jadon Blue, I could see him at some point taking the reins as their top back. But if he doesn't, they're in trouble because the rest of the run, they brought in Miles Sanders, who's awful, and Javonte Williams, who also isn't good. You brought in two of the most inefficient runners in the league and paired him with, a fifth-round rookie in Jadon Blue. So, this doesn't move the needle for me. And then you make the big move to go and get George Pickens. Pickens is very good. I think a bit overrated. He's a lot to deal with, obviously, off the field. And I think a bit overrated, but like good receiver. As number 2 next to CB Lamb, that's a real good fit for him. So they did do some good thing, but also you do lose some players. I think will be pretty decent losses. And it was kind of a mixed bag for them. Not as bad as the year before. I mean, Jerry Jones is still gonna be Jerry Jones. He's coming out complaining about Micah Parsons. Don't know what's going on. That guy's going senile. But they had the worst offseason. Mixed bag. And the New York Giants, I'm gonna give a B. New York Giants. So they didn't really go do a whole lot when it comes to re-signings. Only a legit piece is probably Greg Van Roten, who was an okay all-around for you last year. Obviously, you bring in the two veteran quarterbacks, Russell Wilson and James Winston, get 1-year deals. Russell will be the star. James will back him up. Russ, I don't really think it has much left. You saw that down the stretch in Pittsburgh last year. Not a bit better to have. I don't really think it has a whole lot left. It's been that way for a couple of years now. Jameis, you know what you're getting out of him. He'll have a lot of funny quotes. He'll throw for a lot of yards. He'll throw for a lot of love interceptions. I like the Javon Holland move. He's a very, very good safety. A bit of a Daniel last year in Miami. I think going to the Giants will help him. But you don't really lose a whole lot. Ojulari was the guy third round pick you got from the OBJ trade hasn't really worked out. George Jackson was just okay. I thought they had a great draft. Abdul Carr's going to be a superstar off the edge. That D-line with him, Brian Burns, and Dexter Lawrence should be scary. You trade back up in the first round to get Jackson Dart. I don't mind you taking a shot on him. We'll see what he does in his career. Darius Alexander is a pretty good defensive tackle you take. I like Scatabo, a very likable guy. Him and Tracy could be a nice running back duo. Your team, to me, still sucks. Still, to me, buried in last place in the division. They have a tough schedule, so you got obviously a regime that not a lot of people have a lot of confidence in, Brian Dable and Joe Shane. However, they didn't do anything crazy in the offseason. However, they had an excellent draft. They didn't really lose anybody big, and I do like the pick up Holland. And you have some veteran quarterbacks in that room with Russ and Jameis Winston. So that's the NFC East all-time greats. Training camps on their way in the NFL, so a bunch of stuff is happening. Will Levis is having shoulder surgery, so he's out for the season. That's not like that big of a deal. He's not a good quarterback. Tight end came one first overall, so they were going to rule him anyway. However, it's really important to have a good veteran backup. I guess Levis isn't very good. He's not that much older than Ward, but just a guy who's been there for the last 3 years. He knows the offense. He knows the organization. It's good to have that guy around. Now he's not there. You're going to quarterback is what, Brandon Allen or something. So I think it's important that they have some sort of veteran presence in that room. They really don't have that I think it's an underrated thing that every rookie needs, especially a high pick like Cam Ward. He was the first overall pick in this draft. And so I don't know who's really out there, or who's even available for trade for that matter. So if I'm a Titans, I would actually work rather quickly to try and get another veteran in that room. Also, if Cam Ward either gets hurt, that line's a little shaky out there. I know they try to improve it. See what happens when the season starts. And you never know. Maybe he's so bad, you're like, all right, we need this guy down. If the only other option is Brandon Allen, at that point, you're kind of in a tough spot. So I would work quickly to get a legit backup in there. And then 2 extensions. Chiefs extend George Karlaftis, edge rusher, 4 years, $93 million, $62 million guaranteed. Karlaftis is a very good edge rusher. Was a first-round pick up Chiefs a couple of years ago. Only going to be 24 next year. He has 24.5 sacks his first 3 years in the league. Had 6 his first year, 10.5 2 years ago. Had 8 more last year. Also had 35 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 28 quarterback hits, and 5 pass defenders. He's a good pass rusher. So only going to be 24 years old, a big part of that very good Chiefs defense this last couple of years, and he gets locked up. And also, the Packers extend Zach Tom off the tackle, 4 years, $88 million. He gets a record $30.2 million signing bonus. That's a record for an offensive lineman. Tom is one of the best linemen in the league, one of the best young linemen in the league. Packers have one of the best young offensive lines in the league, and Zach Tom's a big part of that, so they lock him up long term. And then, just to finish off, congratulations to Scotty Scheffler winning the Open, his first ever Open, his fourth ever major. The guy's on an incredible run right now. By far the best golfer in the world, so congratulations to Scotty Scheffler. And then let's talk some wrestling. Friday Night SmackDown from Friday a few days ago. So we had Charlotte Flair defeat for Kevin Rodriguez, and then one of the matches with help from Alexa Bliss. So that team started to gel a little bit. They had Damian Priest and Camille Hayes in the ring. Very happy that Camille Hayes got on TV. He really showed himself. I thought he really showed out. And Aleister Black came in and just got involved. So hopefully we get Priest against Aleister Black at SummerSlam. And then we had Sol Sikoa originally. So that someone you saw like open up and someone hit him with his car. He died with Jacob Fatu. So originally he was arrested. Then it turned out that it wasn't him. So Fatu comes out, and there was a whole brawl. And then eventually it was announced that it would be Jacob Fatu against Sol Sikoa in a Hell in a Cell match for the U.S. title at SummerSlam. Can't wait. And Sol Sikoa ended up getting arrested because he tried to frame Fatu. Which is funny. Yeah, they fatal 4-way tag team match for the number one contenders match for the Y6 WWE Tag Team Championships. Andrade and Ray Fenix come out on top, defeating DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, and Fraxium. These 2 guys, they got really good chemistry. Obviously, they're both in AEW, so I'm sure they off screen are friends. And they have really good chemistry, both really exciting in the ring. I'm very happy that they're getting the shot. Stephanie Vaquer defeated Alba Fire. It was kind of an match. Not a whole lot there. No. And in the main event, it was the contract sign between Cena and Cody Rhodes. You had Cena first come out and said, like, we have to cancel the match. I'm filming a movie. Netflix knows. And Cody drags him back in and says, and he signs a contract for him with Cena's hand. He said it's going to be a street fight. So Cena Cody will be a street fight. People are saying Cody might be turning heel. I could see it happening. You saw he came out with the Rock's glasses on. He had that watch that The Rock gave him. That was a small detail I picked up. I don't know where people saying, like, you can see where they switched face and heel roles. I think it was more just Cena being a chicken shit heel and Cody kind of just being like, all right, I've had enough of the heels, chicken shit mind games. I think people are kind of reaching there, but heel turn for Cody is coming. Whether we're having it somewhere else, I think it's coming. And Monday Night Raw last night was a lot of fun, but I thank God SmackDown's back to 2 hours. It's much better that way. So we had a lot to have. We had CM Punk and Gunther come face to face. Punk came out and said, Gunther's one of the best in the world. I'm gonna give you everything I have. And Gunther came out and just cooked him in that promo. I really wish they went back a little bit more. However, you still have another week to build this. Maybe they're doing that now. Hopefully they do. Obviously, with TKO putting so many events on the schedule, it's hard to build these events, unfortunately, nowadays. But so it was cool. We got a face-to-face. It's like the first true fresh feud for CM Punk since he came back. Punk, every feud he's had has been great, don't get me wrong. But it's been someone who, has some history of him in the past and was basically just, I didn't like what you did when you were here. Went to AEW. How dare you say what you're saying? You're not a good person. And him and Gunther have no history, so it's, kind of fresh. So Gunther, his world title reigns, people haven't liked it because it's just him facing the same opponents over and over again. Also, the Goldberg BS. This is very, very, very fresh and nice to see. It's Sheamus defeat Rusev in the match. Of course, Rusev was about to use Sheamus' shillelagh behind the ref's back, and Sheamus kicked him. Hopefully, the rubber match, because Rusev beat him 2 weeks prior. It's at SummerSlam. Yeah, Outground Americano and Dragon Lee at a brawl. What am I doing with this Outground that thing? Low like Coffin deserves better. This stuff is so stupid. Then a triple threat tag match. LWL defeats the New Day and the Creepers. Of course, El Grande Americano got involved and Dragon Lee got involved. Outside the ring. And LWL is going to be number one contenders for the World Tag Team titles. Of course, those are being held by Finn Balor and JD McDonough of a Judgment Day. If it comes from New Day, wrap it up. Enough. Their heel turn was great, but they even fumbled so badly. It's such a shame. So what are we doing with Grayson Waller? You tease him and Austin breaking up for almost 2 years, and you break them up off camera. That is just terrible. It's because Triple H hates that guy. What a joke. And Grayson Waller wants to be involved. The New Day, he calls himself Big G. Just what are we doing? What a joke. That Becky Lynch will let stipulation down to Lyra Valkyria, saying that if I beat you, you can never challenge me for the title again. And then she went for the handshake, and then Lyra hit her with her own move, the manhandle slam. We had the women's tag team titles being defended. Raquel Rodriguez against Roxanne Perez against Bayley and Lyra. And obviously Becky Lynch running interference. Raquel and Roxanne retain. Although I believe they're going to be taking on Charlotte and Alexa Bliss at the SummerSlam for those titles. I'm interested to see where that goes, because I would assume Liv's going to feud with Roxanne when she comes back. So that's just an interesting match. We had Karen Cross defeat Sami Zayn, where he's with steel pipe behind the referee's back. Hopefully we get a trilogy here, similar to Shin Rusev, between Cross and Sami Zayn on SummerSlam. Please, please, please. I need this for Karrion Kross. The dumpster attacked AJ Styles from behind, so AJ kept popping up. He popped up as a valet driver. Then he was a doctor, and he was a custodian. It was very, very funny. I love the build. He's cleared. He attacked AJ Styles eventually, so that Intercontinental title match has been set for SummerSlam. And Stephanie Vaquero went one-on-one with Io Sky, but then Chelsea Green and her crew in here. Then eventually Rhea came out, and Naomi attacked Io from behind. And then Rhea attacked Naomi, and then we had Vaquero, Sky, and Rhea had a little seance, so that's going to be interesting. Cannot wait for Rhea, Io, and Naomi for the world title at SummerSlam. In the main segment, Roman Reigns came face to face with Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed. First, Heyman tried to acknowledge Roman Reigns and bring him, kind of like reunite with him. Roman obviously wasn't having it. Really good promo, and then Braun Breaker. What's going on? Almost like I couldn't hear what you were saying. You can use my mic. He super punched Braun Breaker. Eventually, he was attacked by Reed and Braun. But then Jey Uso came out. Looks like we're getting Roman and Jey against Braun and Bronson Reed, a tag match at SummerSlam, which is where the story should go with Seth Rollins, assuming he's actually injured. That's the right thing to do. So I'm happy about that. That was Monday Night Raw. It was a really fun episode. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.